Hello there, welcome to Limewar. Today we are watching a tournament match between two teams, and we have Akamisc starting here. Right next to him is Someone Said That My Nickname Sucks. They are literally right next to each other, as are the opponents, Nubs and El Meheecan. Starting right next to each other on a map like this is probably not a bad idea, because I'm going to put it like that. There we go. Because you get to split half the work out of collecting all of the territory. So I am going to just speed it up for the first part. I'm going to put it into ×4 until we get to some engagement. But as we see, we've got Nubs who has... Oh no, that's El Meheecan. I forget how fast the scales are. There we go. El Meheecan is using an airfield, getting some helicopters in the air as we see some barracks being placed to try and grab the territory a bit faster. The problem with going air in this is they don't really grab territory. So it's really hard to try and expand further when you've got that, which is going to put El Meheecan behind a little. I can hear gunfire, so I'm going to slow it down. There we go. And we got the tanks moving out there, but on a blue command now, so they're going to run straight through AKA's units to try and get right into this section. It looks like he's predicted where they started, which would be based on what he saw at the beginning. I'm just pointing out, it took him 18 minutes to start this game, so you can tell tensions are high. We got some energy issues from Nubs, which, as he's moving the tanks directly towards the enemy, it's going to be a bit of a problem. He's literally just revealed himself at the worst time. He actually doesn't have any energy wells to use right now. Oh, he does. One right here. He's collecting another one just here for now. And it has been produced, so he is going to be able to send those tanks off again. But I do think he revealed himself to AKA, so let's have a look. Yeah, AKA can see these tanks. Over in the forest, though, it looks like El Meheecan's infantry are being pushed back by the artillery. Now, the infantry do have a bonus in the forest. A 20% armor increase and 20% attack bonus, I believe. And AKA is bringing his units back and trying to circle them here so that they stop these tanks moving in when they're ready. But I think Nubs is going to build them up into a group of 6 to push forward. But Nickname's on the move and he's got some helicopters going in. He's put his airfield right on the other side of this island. On the other side of this lake. A reverse island. So that airfield should be safe for quite a long time. And these tanks are going to have to try and fight some helicopters now. We've got some Commandos moving in for a bit of stealth tactics. And AKA is not forgetting about air units themselves. But are being pushed back right now from this infantry push. But El Meheecan's only got a few reinforcements coming in after that, so it's just literally this group of units right now. And he's moving his artillery to haste mode at the edge of this forest, so they are going to be a little low health once they get there, because they're getting fatigue damage from the speed boost they're getting. The tanks, instead of going forward, have actually pushed back and are going to probably try and go for a different route. So I'm going to put those commands on. Potentially going around here, but Nickname is following them with those helicopters. Now, El Meheecan is going for an energy well in the forest here, so that's going to be able to help these infantry with the artillery that they're up against, but there are some SAM units they need to take out first. Though they haven't grouped up enough SAM units yet, so maybe these helicopters could take them out. Down here, the tanks are getting harassed by a helicopter that's in the air. Another one's coming in over this side. But the tanks may just get away. But one over here has spotted the Commandos. And those Commandos are pulling back. Let's have a quick look at ecos. They're spreading across the map. We can see how much territory each team has collected. So we'll have a quick look at the eco. So we've got Akamisc on 495. Nickname is on 530, and I think Nubs is going to be about the same, 510. But I reckon El Meheecan's a bit lower. Am I right? We're on El Meheecan? I was wrong. He's on 532 as well. He's managed to keep up, even though he's going for the air units. Though he hasn't gone heavy into air units, so he does have quite a few barracks set up. Which is possibly helping his situation, I suppose. The infantry push is not going to last much longer in this section though. But he has a commando coming, or 2 commandos coming in from this section, hoping to take out this factory here, and the helicopters have been pushed back to try and help against these guys. This could be the tank's opportunity to move in, which they are going forward. We have an interceptor on the move right now from El Meheecan, which would be good to try and take out these helicopters on the front line here. But there are quite a few SAM there, so it's kind of a dangerous game to be playing right now. Both teams seem to be holding back where they can, but the helicopters are a bit active. So I think they're a little distracted being focused in this section. The tanks are moving in, finding their opportunity. And they're going to be able to try and take out this town. But the infantry are going to block their path a little as they build this defensive line. There we go, one goes down. They are targeting the city. So there's 6 tanks here going to take out the city. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. I think they will. The amount of damage they can cause, and I think the helicopters are going to go back and refuel, giving the tanks the time they need. And that is going to be AKA's town going bye-bye. Helicopters are moving in against these exposed artillery units. Where did the SAM go? So I think the SAM have disappeared for a bit. They're in the mountains here, I see. AKA is moving them back into place, but El Meheecan brought those in at just the right time, and there's a good group of commandos going this way. But I have spotted as well a commando moving right through the top of the map and coming back down from AKA. So he's under a lot of pressure, but it looks like he's still willing to wait the time needed to go around the map for that commando to be effective later on in the game. Over here we got another infantry push through the forest straight towards these artillery, so they're getting a bit of a stealth bonus, but I think there's too many units here to be able to actually have that stealth bonus. The tanks also took out an energy well over here, which would normally ground the helicopters, but Nickname does have another energy well just up there, which is going to keep it safe for quite a while. Down here though, there is far too much artillery here for these infantry to actually become effective at doing it. El Meheecan's investing into more barracks, which I think at this point is not the best of ideas. You probably want to go into factories, but then to be fair, I say that, I build tons and tons of barracks all the time. So we've got the helicopters for Nubs as well, so he's got a lot of energy based units. Has he got the energy to match that? Let's have a quick look at his energy. He does only have 1 energy well. And he is producing a lot of energy-based units, but he seems to be managing it pretty well. Unfortunately, this is going to be a bit of a push against El Meheecan right now. They're going straight through the forest. The artillery will move slowly, but they are going to be able to defend from these infantry as they stream in one at a time. But he is trying to build them up. They're just too close to the front line at the minute. Another tank push here from Nubs as Nickname brings infantry downward as well as AKA. They've sort of joined forces against this attack here, and they're spreading out quite nicely. With the SAM there, they can't really bring their helicopters into play. So these infantry are going to have to try and take out these tanks and then the SAM. And another tank going into this fight here. I don't think this tank's going to last long, because the infantry will take tanks out pretty fast if tanks are on their own. Over here, it does look like AKA has control over this area, and I think El Meheecan is going to be pushed back a lot. He's going to have to try and think of something else to do to be able to come back from this. He's gone into some interceptors, which unfortunately won't help him much here, because we saw the helicopters coming in. They might be able to come across this side to protect against air units if the helicopters come back. Trying to make sure I don't miss anything else going on. It looks like the helicopters for El Meheecan is up here, trying to clear out any expanding forces, and that's going to actually do quite good. Be able to control this area a lot better if his helicopters are doing the attacking and the infantry are the ones capturing. I just want to have a look out here so we can see how far both players have, or both teams have expanded to. We have a few missed territories over here, but there's a lot more potential for Bravo team on that side. But then I say that there is quite a few arms stretching outwards, so still a fair bit of eco to gain from the territories. And with so many barracks, they have lost 1 barracks here, but with so many, they've got a lot of units streaming in, which is going to hold back the artillery. which is pretty much the only problem with the artillery. When you're using them to steamroll an enemy, a few infantry can really slow you down, holding you back for quite a long time, giving El Meheecan the time he needs to come up with something and fight back somewhere else. There's a few engagements going on here. I think Nickname plans to use this area as another base. We've got a barracks being set up here. This might just be to help with expanding, but his helicopters are down here to protect it, which means he really wants it, I think. And Yellow is trying to run his units across to this corner of the map, trying to get away from those helicopters, and the infantry are going to protect there. I think we see some industry, and I think there's a town, yeah, just there. So that's what he's trying to protect. He wants to eco for later on. There's a few tanks stored here. I think he's waiting until they build up, and he's going to be able to push through. But there's quite a few infantry here that are just pressuring them to retreat or do something there. The infantry coming in from El Meheecan here is not enough to slow them down permanently, but they are firing at this barracks now, so these interceptors are on the move. Up here, Nickname's interceptors coming to try and take out the helicopters that were doing a good job of controlling the ground. And without them, it looks like Alpha Team might be able to push back in that section. Nubs is sticking to his tanks, and the tanks, to be honest, I think would be best to go round. I'm trying to be hypercritical in this because these guys are pretty much the pros of the game right now. So I think if I was playing this match, I would want to try and bring them round and try and focus on structures. I do get my tanks stuck between infantry, and I'm trying to make better use of them because the infantry slow you down, just like the artillery. But then he does need something to defend with as well, so there you go. He is trying to go around them now. He's given up on the infantry push. He's just going to leave them to what they're doing, and he's going to get his tanks into the structures. Red's helicopters are coming in to try and take out this energy well. I think that's El Meheecan's only energy well. Have a quick look. He does have one energy well, yeah. You can tell by the storage. Each energy well takes up 30 storage, or gives 30 storage. So having these helicopters come in and potentially targeting it. He's not doing that yet, but he's just got this circle command. But if they target down that energy well, that means all of El Meheecan's air units will be stopped. Only temporarily. He does have another energy well up here, which is now ready. And a couple of barracks, which are going to be able to try and push from another direction, or at least increase their expanding ability. Those tanks really did get in there, but... oh, they did take it out just in time. But they have been heavily focused out. Quite a lot of units there to take them out, and now they don't have any directives. They're just going to sit there and take the damage. And another one's going to roll into this mass swarm of units. Did the infantry matter too much that were pushing behind the tanks? No, it looks like he cleaned them up with his own infantry. And we've got a group of SAMs coming in from that direction too. And I think Nickname was pushed there. I think they took out the helicopters and left. Yeah. But Nickname does have quite a few units there still. Trying to make sure I don't miss anything over in any direction. Another airfield coming out from El Meheecan in the top left. And Nubs is going for some more factories and a second energy well. And they're building up some eco in the back here. We do need a town there. I've just spotted this Commandos. Looks like they've taken out the energy well, and he's just ran back away. That was a good snipe there from AKA. And I think El Meheecan has decided these barracks are not worth trying to save at this point. He's setting up a defense ready for when this army comes forward. And he's got a few helicopters nearby that could come in and try and help with that. Interceptors are flying over, which are going to get good vision, and they will take out these helicopters if they get too close. Up in the north, we've got a large swarm of El Meheecan's infantry coming down through this section. I say large, but in this game it's quite spread out because there's such a large landmass. This becomes quite a large force. So these guys are coming through. They might actually take out the SAM just going through there. And they are heading towards this section, which does have a section of barracks there and an airfield, which we saw at the beginning. So they might be able to take out the airfield, but I think the barracks are going to be able to outpace the production there. Outpace in production there. Red's interceptors are here, just clearing up any helicopters that are right there. And one goes down. Probably a few have gone down. There's been a lot of destruction in this small section of the map here. But the artillery are building up in numbers. It looks like he's switched to multiple production now where he's got tanks and artillery. And he's also trying to assist his ally, getting some units up in the forest here to try and help protect El Meheecan's base. Try and have a good look around. It looks like some commandos did try and come in and take out this barracks, and they failed, unfortunately, from El Meheecan. Another one's coming in now, though. And yellow is building up in quite large forces. Although tanks aren't used as meat shields often, in this situation you now want the tanks to actually attack the units, not go around them for the structures, because it will give your artillery much needed time to try and take out those units, rather than it be your tanks. It looks like Bravo team over here has managed to take out Alpha team's aggressive force and are now pretty much able to push back. So down here they've got the yellow team moving through, and there is about an equal number of artillery, but there's a lot of production coming in, including tanks. But not any anti-air at this point, so the helicopter here is pretty much having free reign over these artillery units, which will give the advantage slightly towards the top part until they manage to fix that issue. But Nickname is also pushing in from the right hand side, mostly with just infantry though. But there will be enough distraction to stop these helicopters doing anything supportive in the north section. But now we have El Meheecan and Nubs pushing in through there and trying to get to this group here. So once these guys come round, that'll make it a lot easier to push in from that section as well. Up in the north though, we have a large group of infantry fighting another large group of infantry, and some helicopters coming in for support for our Bravo team. They're going to take out the SAM straight away, so that's actually quite a good move. He's trying to pull the SAM back, but it's just not going to make it in time, I don't think. I say that, but they are moving around. I think that was some interceptors. Yeah, we got some interceptors moving onto this airstrip, and then they're going to go off and attack the helicopters over here. There we go, the interceptors managed to get in there and take out that helicopter, but it did manage to take out the SAM, so it's only the interceptor protecting from the air in this section. And the interceptor's also attacking the infantry on the ground as it flies over. We've got 3 more coming in now, so that area is pretty well protected from the air units that El Meheecan was providing. But now we've got some tanks building up at the back here while the artillery hold off the aggressive force. But also a fairly sizable force coming in through here, through the forest. And what is Nickname doing over on this side? It looks like that's actually quite a good idea. We've got some 2 airfield building with I can't remember what they're called, carriers. They're going to be able to supply these carriers. They're just going to bring them around the back of the base. There's no reason to build a navy on this base, so there's also no reason to try and protect those aircraft carriers, which kind of gives you the advantage when you build them. So that's going to be Alpha Team's endgame plan there, I think. Over here it looks like the artillery from Yellow Team has subsided, unfortunately for them. But just in time for this force to come in through the top, and the tanks are sneaking by where they can, and they're going to go straight for these factories up here. As they bypass some SAM units, they'll probably take some of these guys out. Nickname setting up some defensive lines over here. Well, they're not actually defensive lines. They look like defensive lines, but these guys are not actually building anything, so they must be the orange commands, and it's just a replay error there, in case anyone's wondering that. In the north, though, we do have 4 barracks here in production for El Meheecan, whereas only 2 for Nickname. And another thing I've noticed in Nickname has got some tanks building up in the background there. So they may come into play to try and help defend AKA's base, or to attack while they're distracted. There are a few helicopters here, and they're going to move into this section, but they are probably going to get shot down. Unless that's someone else's command by the looks of it. Yes, the helicopters are here just to defend. And that means that Nubs' forces are forced to come over this section to defend from this area, leaving El Meheecan to try and take down AKA's base. Up in the north section, both teams are now pushing with infantry against El Meheecan, so they've got these barracks over here, which is about another 4 to be fair, are going to ignore this attack and go up towards this section where there is no artillery, and they can outnumber El Meheecan, as he does build a factory. So in the mountains with a factory, that will be great with the artillery trying to push through or defending it, at least, because all the units moving towards them will be slowed down. The interceptors are moving down to try and help this area with the helicopters there. But there were a lot of SAM in this section, so these guys could come in and take out these interceptors. But the interceptors might just be able to do their job before these SAM become effective in the area. To be fair, they are going to get some shots off here. This one's nearly going down. Another one about to nearly go down, but I think they're called off just in time. No more was able to fire off there, and El Meheecan is now being pushed heavily by a lot of infantry, and there is not enough artillery here to make this, to stop the artillery, as the tanks are also going to roll in on top of them. Up in this section, it's just mass infantry versus mass infantry, and AKA is going on the offensive while Nickname is sticking back to build up some defense. But a lot of these units I can hear are Commandos, if I'm correct. I'm not sure I can see them, I might just be being blind, but I can definitely hear them. I think they're coming from AK, I see one there. Over here, it looks like the tables are going to turn once again. This seems to be a back and forth game again, so we've got El Meheecan and AKA pushing back and forward over here. Up here, it's been a large infantry battle, which just gets larger and larger over time. And there's also been this section down here, which now Nubs is actually pushing back with, and might be able to push back here. If he finds this area, he'll actually probably know what's going on. They've sent their units up here to try and capture some territories, but I guess the aircraft carriers are moving down the bottom of the map. We have 4 strikers, so he could have waited a little longer and had 6 on this, but I think he really wanted to move out when he saw the attacks coming in over here. And I think Nubs has spotted this. To be fair, the strikers might have just been on a command to move. I think they were coming in from the airfields. So he has actually got 6 strikers here with these guys. They are going to target this energy well in the back. And I think they can probably reach the other one. Yeah, quite possibly. Nubs has spotted this. He's going to respond with the SAM units coming in through the bottom here. And El Meheecan is pushed back into this section here, but they do have Nubs as well to try and provide some support. But both players, or both teams, are going to try and defend this location, setting up some fortifications. Up in the north here, El Meheecan seems to have somehow become victorious against both players' infantry force, and is now going to be able to push through, and Nickname doesn't have too much to defend here. Nubs is sending in a tank force through this section to try and get past this group of infantry, straight into Nickname's base, and the carriers are on the move somewhere. Where have they gone? Oh, they're right there. I saw that as an island, but Nubs is struggling with energy, which means those tanks up here are also going to be struggling with energy, slowed down, and are going to receive extra damage because of the black smoke. So if we have a look at Nubs' view, or at least his eco and stuff. You can see he's got no energy. He's got the ability to produce it. Once again, I think that's... We got it over there, but we've got the strikers on their way to take out that energy well as well. And as we can see, he's got 30 storage, so that is literally all the energy he has. At the same time, those tanks are targeting an energy well of their own, but that's not Nickname's only energy well. So he's going to still be able to fight with those aircraft carriers. But we will take a look at his energy supply, which is struggling. It's got a lot of energy usage, but he's got a half storage still. Over on this side, with this defense force being mostly infantry, the artillery that are pushing through are going to get a lot of kills in this pretty much for free if nothing's done about it. But now that those strikers are targeting both energy wells, oh, because they're on an orange command, they're not actually going straight to the energy well, they're going to actually target anything en route first. So this town is going to get hit pretty hard. But El Meheecan's coming in and he's taking out the aircraft carriers with helicopters, which unfortunately are going to be really effective against this. There is no anti-air for Nickname here, and that will save Nubs his town there. Both go down, which means all these strikers are just going to fly off and explode when they run out of fuel. Nickname's brought in his tanks into this section, but he's also struggling with energy. And they are black smoking as well. These infantry are going to rush in on top of them. Now is the best time to attack these tanks for El Meheecan, especially as they're low or out of energy. And to be fair, Nickname might be wise to try and grab these two little bits of land, you know, just one missile ship or something in there to try and capture the territory. And that would be some pretty well defended energy for him. The only problem is it would probably cost a lot to do, but you could demo it to get rid of that upkeep cost at least. We do have some more carriers coming in, and they've got some helicopters on top this time. But I think he needs to try and save them up, build them up in numbers, and get some extra anti-air before sending them in there. Backed up by some artillery now, these tanks are rushing in on top of them to try and take out the artillery instead. And they are being fairly effective at that, and he's got his energy relatively sorted now. I think he's probably just turned off the C units that were coming in this way. Or he's only got a couple doing it now. So in this section, El Meheecan is also pushing once again into the base there, and Nubs has a fairly sizable force focused on this base. I do think that Bravo team are doing a really good job at diverting the attacks, and currently their pressure is pushing Alpha Team's army up into the north to defend or attack, and as they do, the pressure down here is relieved and they're able to push it in forward, which means that Alpha Team has to redirect their efforts to try and stop that attack from coming in. And I feel like it is Alpha Team that is on the defensive, even if they're just attacking to be defensive. On the other hand though, Alpha Team are also trying extra things, like this section where they are doing their best to try and push in other ways, trying to find any other way into their base. But now Nickname is struggling with energy once again, but he does have a fairly sizable tank force and is using his air units here. So he's got the helicopters coming in to back up against these tanks. And these interceptors are going to do a pretty good job clearing them out, but there is far too many helicopters here for them to do that. There used to be quite a few of them. There still is, but they're out of energy. So Nickname is actually succumbing to excess energy usage. And he does have 4 energy wells by the looks of it. 3 energy wells, sorry. With 90 storage. Don't know where they are. One here, probably in the water. Or near the water. He's got another one coming in, so he's going to be able to sort out that energy soon. Just didn't come in as soon as he hoped. But now the interceptors are able to take flight. They're going to move in and take on these helicopters, backed up by SAM units. But at this point there isn't enough ground forces here to actually protect these SAM. Over in this section, we have another attack push on this energy well, but Nickname is able to defend from that, albeit only just. But they're under a lot of pressure in this section as well. Now, there has been a few attacks down here, so I want to quickly make sure I'm not missing anything. It looks like a large force of air units coming in, and they might actually be able to spot this if they carry on pushing. Nubs has found another way to get to Nickname's base, and if Nickname doesn't spot this, they're going to be able to take out maybe a structure or two before having to worry. Tanks from Nickname are still going to carry on moving up towards the north, which is good as the infantry start to hit towards the sand. They are being protected, but only just. And I don't think these artillery are going to survive this. It's 3 tanks versus 3 artillery, but there is a few infantry around. But that being said, so is there for Alpha Team as well, and the helicopter in the air is going to really help that. So at this point, it's at this push down here, but the tanks, you can see it, kind of come around and swing downward to this section rather than just trying to attack from the front. So these infantry are going to be the meat shields for these tanks to approach. But as you can see, we've got the infantry moving over this way, and I think Nubs has spotted this, and he's going to try and exploit it by sending his tanks this way. And he might actually be able to get this energy well. Nickname sending the interceptors down here to deal with any helicopters that keep coming towards his area of influence. And they will be able to protect from that. One of them spotting a helicopter in the forest, taking it out as we speak. And there's a large group of infantry, well, a small group of infantry, moving up towards that section, capturing territory from Nickname, which is going to hinder their eco if they are left to do that. So those tanks did go up through that path, as we see, and they are probably going to take out this energy well this time. I did not know, but it looks like Blue Team had this island, part of the lake. I didn't know they'd had one, not the other. But they've got a safe energy well now as well. Doesn't look like they captured it recently. It must have been the way they started, or that I must have missed them capturing just one territory. Up here, it looks like El Meheecan's struggling with eco, because this factory isn't producing anything. But that could just be because I'm on the wrong team. No. Let's have a look at El Meheecan. See? Yeah, El Meheecan's actually struggling with economy. So I'm going to have a quick look. Considering we're quite far into the match, we'll have a quick look at their economy. So, AKA is on 500 total economy in this game, but they are pretty much stuck in this small location. Nickname is on 1,200. Nubs is at 900, and El Meheecan's also at 900. So there is a total difference of about 200 in favour of Bravo Team right now. And the helicopters are moving in this way as the interceptors are called in to protect from them. AKA is forced to set up this defensive line. And up in this section, the tanks are rolling in along with helicopters to take out any infantry they come across. And tanks are going to be more effective at trying to take out these structures than the artillery would have, because they'd be slowed down far too long. I want to check these aircraft carriers. Are they actually going in still? We've got 2 with helicopters moving into this section. And it looks like one of Bravo Team, it's Nubs, who's got some bombers. And they're going to come in and try and take on these aircraft carriers. We'll have a bit of a look there in a minute. So over here, it looks like El Meheecan's going to really struggle defending this location, but Nickname, once again, having a bit of struggle with energy in this match. And tanks really do move slow in these mountains, so I'm not sure it is going to be the best effective use for him right now. they're going to get swarmed by infantry, which is going to slow them down even further. Tanks have moved in to try and take out some structures over here, which is being successful right now. Looks like Nickname is under a lot of pressure now, having to force his tanks down this way instead, which means if El Meheecan can protect from these tanks up in the north, there won't be many, well, there won't be much reinforcement. So you can see there's a lot of infantry moving in. Over here, it looks like the helicopters are surviving, and they're going straight for this this town. There's a few infantry there to protect from it, but that's about it. And I think these bombers were actually called back. So I don't know if Nubs actually spotted this yet. And now Nubs' tanks is surrounded by Nickname's tanks. And they were successful at taking out a few structures for him. So although El Meheecan and Nubs seem to have the best economy, they are, well, Nubs isn't, but El Meheecan's is fairly maxed out. He can't really expand any further or build any structures that cost money to keep up. And let's have a look at Nickname. Is he struggling? No, he's not. He's got quite a bit of expendable capital to use. We have a lot of these interceptors coming in now, so the helicopters from El Meheecan are going to really struggle to stay into this game. And Akamisc was able to hold off using this defensive line here. But he only has just a few structures left. I think he's got 4 structures in this game right now. 1 energy well and 3 production structures. Oh no, there's 2 there, right in front of me. But they are going to get taken out with these artillery if they don't do something about it. And one's already under heavy fire. But I think Nickname's going to have something to say about that. He's bringing his tanks down from there. Over in this section, it looks like Nickname's tanks have completely gone, but they are being harassed by air units, the helicopters, and they have no anti-air in this section. They do have an interceptor here, but it's only 1, and if they send that in, the SAM will get him. Let's have a look down here. Has Nubs spotted this yet? He has been taken out, the town, but some SAM have been brought in, and the bombers sound like they're on their way. Yeah, they are. They're coming in over this section. I saw a bomb get dropped over here. We've got another commando trying to sneak through the mountains over here, which is going to be stopped most likely. El Meheecan is trying to get to the edge of this defense, trying to push all his units into there. It might be wise to just send them around like this and bring them up and down. Over in this section of the map, it looks like Nickname is bringing back their tanks pretty much because of the amount of helicopters in the area. And I haven't checked over on this side of the map for a little while now. But there's quite a few units moving in, and I don't think Nickname's focused over here yet. He's got quite a few structures being built recently. But I think Nickname is focused on what's going on down here and up here. Too much to remember that he's got stuff going on down here for now, but I don't think it'll take him long to respond. There we go, got some units moving now. He's probably going to send these helicopters off or something. Oh, he can't. Nickname is struggling with energy, even though he's got quite a bit left over, but I think they won't launch if they don't feel like there's enough available for them. The tanks are rolling over the mountains towards these artillery, which are actually going to be quite effective, but there is kind of an arc here which is going to change the firing path this way, and if that happens, these tanks are going to take a lot of damage from these guys. I say if that happens, it is happening. Over in the north section, I'm not quite sure who's winning this with the amount of production coming out from here. But there's helicopters and SAM units that are quite easily capable of keeping this sided with the Alpha team. But as 3 helicopters come in, they're going to try and shoot the SAM down. Now there's only 2 helicopters. One of them's distracted, so one strays off. The helicopters are not going to win this for El Meheecan in the top there. AKA is setting up an airfield over here, which will help them protect this area. I want to know what's going on down here. Have these carriers been dealt with? Yes, they have. Unless they've been moved elsewhere. No, they can't pass this area. So there are some helicopters from Nickname being brought in to help protect AKA. But the Sun unit's probably going to get this one. The other one does manage to escape. Over on this side, El Meheecan's forces are building up once again. And there isn't much else he can do. I know El Meheecan was struggling for eco earlier, so I'll have a quick look. He's managing to sort that out a bit. Might be always trying to start up the eco structures at this point. He needs to try and start reaching that maximum potential that he has. Nickname is building, by the looks of it, a city. And these units are going to actually manage to try and take out these SAM units. As they come in through the side, Nubs is actually kind of vulnerable from the right hand side now. I want to check Nickname's energy use. He actually has sorted out some energy. He's got maximum amount that he can have right now. Now we have some air units going down. It looks like El Meheecan has some SAM of his own in this section now. But there is an artillery trying to take out this barracks, and it is on his own. But I think it's going to be left there for a little bit. There's 2 units coming in to take that out now, so I think they'll be fine. And AKA is going for these bombers now, so I think these bombers are going to be what's going to try and take out this section. Nickname's bringing in some tanks over here, ready for an attack over this side to try and protect AKA once again. But he's also bringing in a lot of infantry through this section, where there is pretty much only SAM units and a few infantry dotted around to protect. And I suppose the helicopters are going to do the best work in this section right now. These bombers have been sent up into the north section here. I didn't see that. But it looks like they took out some units and structures over here. The interceptors must have been called out to try and protect from that. And after that, we've got a large force coming through this section, straight into there to join this fight here. Bravo team are doing an excellent job at trying to coordinate that. El Meheecan is focused really well in the north here, trying to push back against all of these helicopters, to be fair. There isn't much they can do about that. But at least this force going forward here, it's actually distracting these helicopters from the attack over here. Having to split up their defences in multiple places. But now the helicopters are moving in down to this section. They can see the severity of the threat there. And he has just sent them off down there, which is leaving El Meheecan the ability to just capture the territory over here. And there is a lot of helicopters here. This is probably quite a large force. We can see how much energy is being used. On the odd occasion it goes to 42 energy per minute. And that's far too many helicopters to be able to handle very easily, but we have quite a bit of anti-air on this side, so it might be worth Nubs bringing them up here. We have a nuke silo coming in. And some interceptors coming up from Nickname. El Meheecan has spotted this airfield right now, and the bombers are just about to land back on it. Might be always trying to send these bombers over to Nicknames if it would work. I know you can land on allies' airfields, I'm just not sure how. There we go, we've got Nubs trying to push around through the right hand side as well, and Nickname is changing their focus to the right hand side. He's So these structures, if these infantry can't stop the units, these structures will get spotted early. But over here, AKA is able to hold back this army with the help of these mass swarmed helicopters. But there is a large force of infantry coming in through here, and they are protected by the odd SAM unit. Even the interceptors are coming in, and they're going to be able to try and help damage these units, and they're going to catch these bombers off guard. Just in at the right moment in time, and they've taken out one already. Another one goes down, and the last one goes down as well any second, I think. There we go. And to be fair, there's another one coming in as well. But Nickname is struggling with energy. The helicopters won't take off. But he does have quite a bit of storage of energy, so I'm not sure why they won't take off. Especially as it's being attacked. But those interceptors did a great job taking that out. We have a rocket on both sides of the map right now. The Nickname's building a rocket, Nubs is building a rocket. And El Meheecan is pushing up through this section. And Nickname's quite vulnerable here as well. He's only got few production. I think these tanks are what's been saving him for a while. So we've got aircraft carriers coming out once again from Nickname. And the strikers are being sent over. Nubs has spotted a barracks over here, and the tanks are rushing towards it, but he's left one behind. Ironically, right next to a factory. They were closer to this factory, and it was less defended as well. But obviously you can't see through the forest because of the style. So we can see that some units did try and come in through this section, and they were trying to take out a structure, but I think Nickname was able to save it there. But the artillery coming in through the top here are able to get some free shots, killing off a few units for absolutely nothing. But there isn't that many of them, so I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem in the long run. And these interceptors are taking out absolutely anything that come into range of these helicopters. But to be fair, with all this air units, even with the interceptors, they are shooting down any infantry that come through too. So the interceptors are actually helping the helicopters take out this force of infantry. And it was quite large before. But El Meheecan's trying to get in through the back. He's trying to take out this energy well. Now what's going on down here? Because there was a few forces coming through. Here we go, we've got two aircraft carriers now. They're fully loaded with strikers. And Nickname's bringing his tanks in to defend from this area against more tanks. I think it's because of this section. I didn't spot what was in the forest. So these tanks are trying to protect this factory that he's now spotted. But Nickname's struggling with energy. I assume that's because of the mass amount of helicopters he's got. With all these helicopters though, as long as he can maintain some energy... Oh, he lost the energy bar here. Which took away some of his storage too, I would have thought. But I'm not sure. Because I think someone's just stored in there. The Commandos are on the move once again, trying to find any other target. And if they come down through this section, he has tried to guess that there's one there. But I think Nickname's realised that that's probably where he would go, so he set up a line there for the units to go and defend it. Over here, it looks like El Meheecan is pushing through. We do have a large force of artillery here, which are going to be able to defend really well. But I just don't know if he's got the production to keep up with this. I mean, AKA is literally stuck on his starting location, trapped between both enemy players and his own ally. We have a rocket being built from both sides, but Bravo Team's rocket is going to be burst, and he's right in range of this base. Taking out the army would be a very good idea, and you'd just be able to steamroll it, and then you'd be 1 versus 2. SAM are building up in this area, and they are starting to take out these helicopters. And there's an interceptor coming in as well that are going to probably chase down some of those ones that are on the ground. Potentially, I don't know if they're in range of its targeting, but as they target the infantry, it'll probably turn on them. So far, it's not too worried against it. Oh, the rocket is on the move, as well as the aircraft carriers in the south. Well, they didn't actually go for AKA, they went for the nickname, and I think they go for the factories over here. There we go, they managed to take out 3 factories. Yeah, 3 factories, heavily damaging another. Which is going to make Nickname struggle a bit, because he was using this for tank production, and that's been saving them both for quite a while. It looks like Nickname did lose this factory as well. Tanks are moving down towards a lot of SAM units. They'll be able to get some easy kills on that if Nubs isn't careful. But they can potentially take out a helicopter before it takes off. But unfortunately not quite for Nickname. Up here it looks like AKA has, relatively speaking, lost his army. Both forces are now combined to push through against his base. And I think the only thing that will save him now is having this in the ocean and not being able to reach it. But the helicopters will, to be fair, so... And Nickname's rocket is nearly built. If they spot that rocket, they're going to probably rush towards it. Take it out before it becomes a problem. And where are these commandos going? They are going to head straight for this energy well. After taking out what I can assume was another... Oh, the last of the factory, maybe? To be fair, they're close. They could take out that factory too. SAM are moving closer now against these helicopters, and the interceptors are going to get taken out as well. But unfortunately, I think this push is just a little too hard for Alpha Team. And Bravo Team are doing a very good job at actually taking these 2 out. The rocket is ready, and it will be ready just in time, I think, but they won't be able to target the ground forces that are attacking them because the rockets have a minimum range. It's ready right now, but I don't know. Nickname needs 20 energy. He's now got it, so he could fire it. But he'd have to fire it about here if he wants to take out the army, but he might not. He might go for the production. Or potentially the previous rocket. No, they are going to a different location. It's just going to hit the ground to defend. But as you can see, that was pretty much its minimum range. There are still quite a few forces here that are able to take on everything else. AKA has given up. And I can only assume that Nickname is about to do the same as we're close to the end of the match. So the bombers are coming in. They've spotted the rocket silo here. And there we go. So Nickname has given up as well. Well done, Bravo Team. That was a very well played match, trying to distract the enemy from multiple locations. And well done, Alpha Team, trying to find any other solution to try and stop the enemy. Going in the back with the aircraft carriers was great. And the defense from AKA was awesome. Thank you for watching, guys. Let me know what you want to see next. If there's any particular match, please feel free to comment it. We're covering some of the tournament matches recently. And there are 2 videos on screen right now. Feel free to click on one and I'll see you there.